Hey everyone, and welcome to the PHILLIP Show. I'm super excited to see you here today. Now listen, I'm gonna grab my coffee and we're gonna jump in. Yeah. Okay, so this is hot, so my glasses are gonna get steamy, but you know. And I'm gonna burn my tongue, so there's that. So listen, it is June, and in June we have Pride Month. And for those of you who do not know, the PHILLIP Show is the proud media sponsor for YS Pride 2021, and we're bringing to you stories, inspiring stories from within and surrounding the LGBTQ community. And I'm super excited about it because this helps us to dispel some myths. It helps to give a little bit more education, clarity on conversations that people may or may not be having. But a lot of times, if you don't have the information, you just create a narrative. And then, you know, you just go from there. People just make stuff up, just to be honest. But so we're here to kind of shed light on some journeys, put faces to stories, and to give you a glimpse of some people that are doing some amazing things. And we want to highlight them this month. And today is no different. So today on the show, I have an awesome person. His name is Jeff Rollins. And, excuse me, his dream of becoming an actor was becoming reality when he was cast in his first role in an indie flick called All Mistakes Buried. Since then, he has worked on multiple projects ranging from more film work, musical theater, and even a music video. Now listen to this part. He auditioned for admission to the National Conservatory of Dramatic Arts in Washington, D.C., and was accepted on the spot by conservatory president, thus paving the way for the next stage of his journey toward his dream. So without further ado, join me in welcoming the talented actor, Jeff Rollins. Jeff.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, Phillip?
I'm all right. You know, so you have so much going on. You have so much going on, and you have such a journey. So let's start at the beginning.
Let's do it.
Okay, so coming into, I want to hear about how did you come into kind of who you are, and then I want to transition to being comfortable enough to walk the journey of life confidently.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. So where did it all start for you?
So I am from a very small town in Louisiana, Forest Hill, Louisiana. It's dead center of the state, the very buckle of the Bible Belt, from a very conservative Southern Baptist family. So needless to say, the environment I grew up in was very strict, and things related to my sexuality and my internal journey were not really discussed or encouraged to be discussed, for that matter.
Now, when you said, so right there, when you said the things within your sexuality and internal journey, were those one and the same, or did you have things about your sexuality and you had something else as well?
They're pretty much hand in hand.
Okay. All right. So then what happened?
So then I went to college, Louisiana Tech University in Ruston, and had a very rough period there. I was having a lot of trouble with my mental health. I wasn't medicated properly, and I kind of just went off the deep end and had a mental breakdown. Lots of pressure from school, from my family, from still kind of wrestling with being gay and what that meant and what that looked like. So I ended up in Teen Challenge for a year and a half to deal with a whole lot of stuff in regards to that. And since then, I've kind of found my tribe and the people who have come to love me for me and on the inside as well as out. I mean, even my family has come around to being supportive and accepting of who I am. And so, yeah, that's where we are now.
Now, when you were going through the process of basically what others wanted you to do and just kind of responding to life, right? When you're responding to life, when did you get to the point of saying, you know what, I'm no longer going to keep trying to be this person that people keep telling me to be, or people keep saying that I am, or people want me to be. I'm just going to be me. Where was that, and what was that like?
So that happened actually after I did my movie, All Mistakes Buried. The casting director and the co-writer / producer talked to me about my look, my voice, how memorable those things were, how much they stuck out, and kind of announced me as a presence. And basically, we're just like, you know what? There's nothing here to be ashamed of. Like, this is your calling card. This is what you're appreciated for. And ever since then, it kind of bolstered me enough to where I was comfortable enough to be like, you know what? I'm gonna live that. I'm gonna be who I want to be.
So you were kind of admonished, if you will, for who people saw you authentically as.
Right.
And it's like you had to catch up with them.
Yeah, exactly.
That is 100%. That's wonderful. You know, that's wonderful, because sometimes you need that boost of somebody saying, you know, it's okay.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And then seeing that, you know, I can walk this road out as me.
Yeah.
You know, well, that's amazing. So you went through all of that, and you started your acting career, and apparently it's going really well.
So far, yeah. Hopefully we're still moving forward.
Yeah. So for some of the people who may not understand, I want you to help me with terminology really quick.
Okay.
Because I know that there's going to be some people who have some questions, and if you don't know or you're not quite sure, that's totally fine. Okay. But some people do have questions. Some people are trying to learn and trying to get educated, and hopefully these interviews will help. So tell me about pronouns. What is the deal with pronouns? How do you use them? How do you use them for yourself? And when are they necessary for people to use?
Okay. So I use he, him pronouns. I've come to see how important those are and how powerful just knowing which ones people prefer to use, and how just how much that bolsters someone else to live, you know, their truth. It took a while for me to kind of, I guess, understand, because that wasn't my journey. And I've had people in my life who that they were having that journey, and they kind of walked me through kind of like the mental struggle of being misgendered, or people just not respecting how they presented, and just the toll it takes on them. So it's vital now to be able to understand those things, and to be able to support those people who are on that journey, so they don't feel as alone.
That was a wonderful explanation, because I know a lot of people out there want to try. You know, I was speaking to somebody else, and you know, it's kind of like the person who has who is establishing those pronouns for themselves. They've been with them for a long time.
Yeah,
like they personally established that a while ago.
Yeah,
but for everybody else, it's really new, and it's like a whole crash course.
Oh yeah,
and kind of relearning. It's like, okay, wait, what do I do? How do I do it? You know, it's like, yeah, because you don't want to, especially if you're really trying to understand. I'm not speaking to those people who are just going to be disrespectful regardless.
Oh, right.
That's not that's not just, so if you're out there, everybody, you're not the market segment that I'm talking to right now, because, you know, but it's for those people who really want to include and understand and be respectful. And just know that, you know, there's grace and it's okay. Oh, yeah. One of the things that I want to ask you, because a lot of people that I've interviewed, and I'm sure that you've come in contact with on similar journeys, have come from a religious background. Oh, yeah. And those people that have come through religious background often end up in some sort of process to either
Yeah.
pray it away, make it go away, or the
yeah.
mental part of it was so challenging or heavy that they adopted substance abuse as a way to cope.
Oh yeah.
So when you came out of this program,
Mhm.
how are you different? I just wanted people to understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah.
you're in a process, and then you're in there for a certain reason. How was your life before, and then who were you after? Did it even do those programs work for identity? I guess is the word.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know how effective they are in issues with identity and with just the internal struggles of that, especially because, as you know, we were kind of othered for that. And that just kind of was further ostracizing and kind of reinforcing the horror that was my life before.
Sure.
So once I got out, I kind of had to come to the point where I had to accept the fact that there were going to be people in my life and in the church especially who did not understand nor want to understand how things were going and who I am as a person because they're caught up on that like gay label.
Sure.
Like that's all it was to them. Like I wasn't a person, I was a label. And once I could move past that with an amazing therapist, so huge push for therapy here, and the correct medication, I was able to really just come to the point where I was okay with people not always understanding or being supportive, but being okay inside. And that's the main thing.
Did you ever get to the point where after you have tried so many things to kind of distance yourself away from yourself, you just kind of looked and said, you know what? I think I'm just me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like with all the processes, with all the procedures, with all the programs, with all at the end of the day, it's just like, it's almost more frustrating to try and continue to fix.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I don't know what is this? You know?
Exactly.
So your family is doing better, right?
Yep.
So your family's doing better. How are you, after you decided to say, this is me and this is who I am, aside from your the professionalism of it all and being comfortable there, personally for you, how are you doing now? What weight has either been lifted, or do you find it to be a little bit more challenging just living who you are?
I actually find it a little bit easier. The weight of expectation is it's unbearable. Once I was able to let go.
Can you explain what you mean? Like the expectation, what was it? What was weighing on you when it came to expectation?
Okay. So like I told you earlier, I was from a very conservative, very church religious household. And there was a very much a gay is wrong and horrible kind of mindset. So I basically came out of the womb with that hanging over me. And once I was able to kind of come to terms with the fact that, I'm still a person, I'm still valuable to the world, and it's just unnecessary to carry that around because it just hurts me. It does no good for anybody.
Yeah. So now you said that you have your tribe now. How did you meet your tribe?
This is ironic, actually, because I actually met them in church. These people are very progressive and are very pro LGBTQ people, LGBTQ rights. They're very just supportive of the journey and very respectful of my specific journey. And the journey that my fellow brothers, sisters, non-binary pals have walked, and they try to educate and understand, and while at the same time not being just a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah.
So that was amazing.
Sure. So outside of the gay arena, you know, because that's not all that we have to deal with, right?
Oh, no.
You know, that's not. So how do you compartmentalize, or how do you remain, I guess, above water, specifically being in entertainment? You know, we all have other insecurities and ways that we're trying to navigate aside from sexuality.
Right.
You know, so what are some tools that you use just to remain balanced in everything else that you have to deal with?
Therapy. I love me some therapy. My current therapist that I have now, I've had for 3 years now, and he's amazing. He's helped me work through a lot of the PTSD that I had from my college days and just horrible things back then. But that, I have an 8-year-old nephew who just adores me, and he's my favorite human on the planet. So knowing that he's watching really helps me be mindful of how I kind of move forward with life, because I want him to see, you know, that he can be his authentic self and do what makes him happy, and how to do it in a way that isn't debilitating, because I'd lived all of that before he was born, thankfully. So that he's just kind of an extra motivator to really be mindful of how I remain balanced, and when I need to kind of take a step back and just rest before I can go back out and do more of that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So what is it like? What's it like being an actor? You got your break, you're in all this stuff. Like, tell me about it. What is it? How is it?
Scary.
Okay.
My first movie I got on it accidentally. They had a call at the local news for extras, and I showed up thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna go, and they're gonna be like, hey, come at this place at this time and just stand there. But no, it was an actual audition, and I was terrified because I had no training, no experience. I walk in and it's a full like improv.
Oh, wow.
And so they give me a scenario, and they're like, okay, so Sue Ann, who is the girl I was reading with, is a prostitute, and you're a John, and you have to go and ask her for her services, but you don't know for sure if she's, you know, doing sex work or not. So go. And I just kind of stood there for a second, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I fumbled through it and asked her eventually for a price. Okay. And she says like $300 or something. So I did something you're never supposed to do in an audition. And I walked off the mark where they were filming and took my wallet out and put cash down in front of her. And people lost their minds. I found out later the role had already been cast before they saw me. But the casting director and the producer, Sean, had fought for me to get it.
Oh, wow.
So Sean Sangani is a godsend, and he has helped bolster my career thus far. I've actually done in front of the camera and behind the camera. But behind the camera, I did like more catering, craft servicey type stuff. And it was really a great learning experience too, to see what goes on behind the camera and the dynamics between everything. So yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. So wait, so let's go back. You said when you, of course, you walked off your mark and threw everybody off, but why did everybody go crazy when you put money down? Was it because you had money, or you just did an improv moment?
They said because I had that instinct to throw money down, because all the guys they had seen up to that point had refused the price. And they said I was the only one who said okay. And then I had the instinct to take out money. And the casting director said, that is the exact moment I knew that you needed this, that I wanted you.
Wow. Wow. Natural.
Yes.
Wow, that's really amazing. So what else is in your purview to kind of try and go for?
Okay. I actually just booked my first commercial
Ooh.
This past week for a skincare company.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they came to me.
That's so interesting.
They saw my demo reel, which is kind of like my compilation of stuff I've done and like the range I can do on a casting website. And they emailed me and said, hey, this is our product. This is our brand. We want you to read for this part because we think you'd be amazing.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, just kind of word of mouth. And now I have a commercial.
Awesome. That's the only reason I kept saying that's amazing, because you have such a beard.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm not actually advertising the product itself because it's specifically for women.
Okay.
And women, people who identify as women. But they're having like a kind of like the progressive commercials where they have like a skit within a commercial kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So that's where I come in.
Okay. I mean, I'm sitting here the whole time you're talking. I'm thinking of all cosmetics. Like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. That's even more awesome that they found you from that website.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Backstage.com for all you people who are interested in.
What is it again?
Backstage.com.
Backstage.com. I'm going to type it in and let the people know.
Okay. It's the leading casting website for entertainment.
Wow. Plug. Yeah.
Yes.
So how are you now? Are you happy? Are you, determined?
Yeah.
Are you?
I am probably in the best place personally in my life that I've ever been. Like I've got my first apartment. In my first relationship. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. And I'm moving forward with my career that I have dreamed of my entire life. Being accepted on the spot into that school was just the confirmation that I was like, you know what, this is what your purpose is and what you are here to do.
Yeah.
And nothing has kind of kept me going more than that.
Speaking of purpose, do you think that you would have been in the place to do the things that you want to do if you hadn't reconciled within yourself to be comfortable with who you are?
Not at all. It never would have happened.
Yeah. So that's so encouraging there, just, I mean, you talked about acceptance. There is such comfort and strength in knowing that you are accepted just for who you are.
Yeah. Just it's so freeing.
And then everything else is just like strawberry shortcake.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to walk into a room and kind of pretend or hope or you was like, ugh, let me take all this acting off so I can act.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. So if you are as an actor, and I'm sure that and I'm sure somebody's going to be hearing this who may be in a similar or interested in a similar path, but what would you tell them if they were looking to pursue their dreams but they had some sort of hesitancy?
Probably do your research.
Okay.
Because I had no idea how it worked, how people knew who you were, how you can get seen, things of that nature. Because with the advantages now of like casting websites, the internet, YouTube, things of that nature. You can do your own stuff and you can send it around. It is so easy now to just create your own material. Do that what makes you happy, what you feel comfortable with, and give yourself permission to suck. I mean, you're not gonna come out the gate doing like, Shakespearean level material, and that's fine. It's a learning process. So that's probably the number one thing. Just give yourself permission to suck.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for the person who may be struggling with coming to terms with the decision to live life authentically, what advice would you have for them?
Gosh, that's a really tough one.
Well, let me put it another way. With you,
that might be good.
with your journey, what is a piece of advice that you would have loved to hear that would have made everything a lot easier?
Okay. Oh, probably that it's okay to live a life that's mine when other people don't understand. Like, I'm living my life, it's mine specifically. I can't live it for anybody else. So it's okay that not everybody's going to understand.
That's really good. There was a meme that I saw. I forget what I'm gonna murder it, but it was like something is about how God called. Why are you worried about what other people are saying about where God called you to? It wasn't a conference call,
right?
Basically, it was like standing.
That is an amazing.
Yeah, I thought, I was like, you're right. Because we do have this innate like desire for approval, and it's kind of like, when people don't approve, then I alter who I am. They don't alter.
Exactly.
I alter who I am, and all of a sudden I'm living a life that somebody else approves of. But it's like, okay, but what about mine? What about my life? So I think that's very, very necessary. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I'm so excited about all of your, I'm excited about your journey, all of your success, both personally and professionally. Oh my goodness. I got to figure out something to do so I can have some more IMDD.
Right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and for being so transparent. Yeah, and sharing your story. It's encouraging to me, and I know it's going to be encouraging to the people that are watching.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. So everybody, that was Jeff Rollins, actor Jeff Rollins, doing some amazing things, making some amazing strides. And he did that after he accepted who he was. Actually, people told him that they accepted him first. And all of a sudden, it triggered in his mind that he can live his life as him. It sounds so simple to some, and it's a journey for others. But that's all of our goal, is to be able to just live life, right? Doesn't everybody want that? I think so. So for anybody who's watching, just know that you are perfect just the way that you are. You have purpose, you have ability, you have skills, but in all of that, you are the best you in the world, and nobody else can be that. So stay encouraged, be encouraged, and just remember to be you. And we will see you next time on The PHILLIP Show.